It wasn't over. The highway only led me back, every exit pointing straight to that gas station under the humming blue canopy. As the gaslight glowed and my hope faded, the rules began to reveal themselves. I decided not to go in this time. I just sat in my car under the forecourt lights, watching, waiting. Was there anyone else trapped in these loops with me? The canopy hummed. The other car was parked at the middle pump. The man in the hood never moved. The clerk inside, his eyes met mine, and something changed. I took the exit. This time I decided I wouldn't go in. I would just sit in my car in the forecourt, and I would wait. I would see if anyone else came. I would see what the clerk did when he had no one to ring up. I would see what time did when I watched it. I want you to understand that the compulsion didn't feel like panic. It felt like an idea I had to complete. It felt like when you stack plates and you know there's one more, and your hands move before you think. It felt like when my brother and I were kids, and we would spin in the yard and stop and listen for the way your heart feels when you hit the exact middle point between dizzy and falling. It felt like a game you can't lose because losing isn't a thing yet. I parked under the far light. The canopy hummed. The other car, the dark sedan, was at the middle pump. I had never seen him get out. Now he was standing beside the vehicle with the nozzle in, his hood up, still like someone frozen in a school play. The smell of gasoline came and went like a thought, passing through a room and not finding a chair. The clerk stood at the glass. He lifted his hand. He put it down. He looked at the phone behind the counter. He didn't pick it up. I watched the numbers on my dash, the ones that tell you the miles left. It said 12, then 11, then 13, then 9. It was stupid to find a pattern in that. It was stupid to feel that 9 was a threat. It was stupid to think that with each drop the canopy hummed louder. It was stupid. I sat there until I couldn't stand my own breath. I opened my door. I told myself I was just going to throw out the water in the cup because it had been sitting on my passenger seat since I paid and I didn't want it to spill. I picked up the cup. It was warm. The door chimed when I opened it. Then it chimed again. The clerk didn't look up. I set the cup on the counter. He flinched like I had set down a hand. I didn't drink it, I said. He licked his lips. There was a barely healed cut there. It's better if you do, he said. For what? I asked. And as soon as I said it, I wished the words back. Because I knew asking made a door open in the air I couldn't close. He looked at the stack of receipts by the register. For leaving, he said. Something shook in me like a thread pulled. I picked up the cup. I set it down again. I asked him, "What's your name?" It felt important that he have one. It felt like a trick to break a spell. He looked at me like I had asked him what color his thoughts were. He smiled the training smile. "You paying inside or at the pump?" he said. "I already did," I said. And then I realized there hadn't been a charge on my card. I realized I had signed a piece of paper that had a line where the price should be. I realized the receipt that should have curled out of the top of the register and been torn by his thumb was not there. The stack on the counter was old. Yellow around the edges. The top one had a date. It said the right month. It said the wrong day. It said the right day. It said 12:03. I wanted to ask him so many things. Are there rules? If there are rules, I'll follow them. Should I look at my feet when I walk through the aisle with the snacks? Should I not read the back of the chips bag? Should I not touch the nail file hanging on the pegboard by the motor oil? Does the fridge hum or breathe? Should I keep my change? Does it matter if I say thank you? Does it matter if I don't? Instead I said, I think my brother got a joke like this one time. I didn't want to say his name. I didn't want to throw it into the hum. He was on a road, and he kept passing the same turnoff. He called me. He said, tell me a number and I'll take the next exit that many times away, because otherwise I think the road is trying to make me a shape I don't want to be. I laughed. It did sound funny then, in the memory. I told him 8, because 8 looks like a road that eats itself and spits itself out different. Sorry. I'm not. This is stupid. Never mind. The clerk raised his eyes, and something unclenched in them, like he had been holding his breath for a year. Did he? He asked. Did he what? Did he take the 8th? He said. No. He took the next one. He always did that. He made a rule, and then he broke it, because breaking was part of the rule. That's how he made it his. I swallowed. He's not around. The clerk nodded like I had told him it might rain later. He said, there's a rule. He blinked slow. I counted his blinks without meaning to. If you don't want to stay, don't come in twice. I had to pay inside, I said, and I felt the stupidity of the words as I spoke them, the way they hung there and showed their neck. He shook his head. Not that. Doors, he said, and he looked past me, to the door I had just walked through, and then to the little swinging half door that led behind the counter, and then to the cooler doors lined up like teeth. You don't want to stay, you pick one. You don't take 2. I started. I didn't say, he said faster, too fast, the words tripping into each other. I didn't tell you. I didn't. He pressed his hand flat on the counter, as if to feel if it was still there. Somebody told me, but I didn't listen. He said, don't pick up the coin on the floor. I picked it up. He laughed, that cough laugh again. It doesn't matter. It all doesn't matter. The point is, you can't have both. If you take both, then it keeps you in the middle. What's both? I asked. He looked at the paper cup with water. He looked at the hubcap with the bathroom key. Drink or wash, he said. Pick one. I hate that this made sense. I hate that it slotted into some place in my head that had been waiting for it, like a shaped stone. What happens if I... He shook his head once. Don't, he said. Don't ask. It uses the answers. I stood there, and I didn't drink, and I didn't wash my hands in the bathroom again. And while I stood there, the radio went silent, and then spoke a commercial that had not run in 10 years. The man in the dark sedan didn't move his hands. I watched him, and in the reflection, it was me. And in the reflection of the reflection, it was not me. I took the cup. I lifted it. I didn't drink. I put it down. The door chimed twice with nothing. I picked up the key on the hubcap. The metal was warm, like the cup was. I set it back. Pick, the clerk said, in a voice that didn't sound like his anymore. If you don't pick, it will. I pick going, I said, and the way the sentence tasted told me I had never been good at this. I pick leaving, I pick out. I thought that was very clever. It did not feel clever. I backed away. I walked to the door. I did not touch the cooler handle. I did not look at the lottery tickets. I did not step on the coin on the floor by the mat that I had not seen until he said it. It was a quarter, and it was tails. Don't come back, he said, and for a moment I thought he was being kind. It was a sentence you say to someone when you hope they don't suffer. I reached for the door. I opened it. It chimed once and once again, like it had cleared its throat to speak. The night outside had a different shape. It pressed close to the edges of the lights. The pumps waited. My car waited. I went to it, and I got in, and I turned the key, and the car said yes. And I pulled out, and I didn't turn right or left. I went straight across the place where it wasn't a road, because I could not bear the idea of using their exit and their entrance again, like a coin flipping itself. The car bumped the curb, and I went down into a strip of grass, and I dragged the undercarriage, and there was the sound of my wallet falling off the seat. I gripped the wheel until the bone of my thumb hurt, and I breathed the way they tell you to breathe in a class where they teach you to slow your heart. In, 4. Hold, 4. Out, 4. The highway was there. The blue canopy was not. The road looked like a road again, thick and stupid and full of blinks where the reflectors caught my lights and blinked back. I drove. The dashboard clock said 12:03. I didn't look again. The gaslight winked and then went to sleep. My phone lit on its own on the seat and said 1:11 a.m., and then 1:12, and then 1:03, and then no, and then yes. I did not touch it. I didn't see another car for 20 miles. I didn't see another car, and I didn't see the blue canopy, and I didn't see the clerk's eyes, and I didn't see the hubcap key. After a while, I cried, because that's what you do when your body doesn't know what else to do with you. You let water out. I kept the speed needle steady. I kept the needle between. I didn't pass anyone because there was no one to pass. When I got home, the porch light was on, like it has always been on when I come home late. I shut off the engine, and it ticked as it cooled, and I put my head down on the steering wheel and breathed against it until the pattern of the plastic was printed on my forehead. Then I went inside and put my keys in the bowl by the door, and I put my phone on the table, and it showed me 9 missed calls from a number that looked like my own with 1 digit wrong. I did not listen to the messages. You want me to say I never saw the place again? God, I wish I could give you that. I saw it a week later, at noon, in daylight, with trucks at every pump and people in sunglasses buying ice. It was not the same station. It was not those pumps. The canopy was green. The bathroom door was red. The clerk was a woman with a laugh like a knife falling into a drawer. But when I stepped out to stretch my legs, I looked to the far pump, and there was a man in a hood, and he did not move. And when I went inside to pay for a bottle of water because my card chip refused to read, the radio stuttered and changed and caught a baseball game that sounded like it had been waiting. The door chimed twice when I held it open. The woman looked up at me, and down, and up again, too quick. The stack of receipts was thick, a phone book of transactions. I signed the slip and wrote a name that wasn't mine, because my hand did it faster than I could stop it. I wrote my brother's name. He's not dead. I want to make that clear. Everyone thinks when you say he's not around, that you mean he's in the ground. He's not. He's around in the edges of things. He's around when I hear a song I hate and I can't turn it off. He's around when I stand still at the window in the middle of the day and think about a road that goes nowhere until you tell it to. He left because leaving is easier for some people, or because leaving is what you do when staying is the same as being eaten. He called me from a payphone once, and I remember his voice like you remember the shape of your own hands. He said, "Pick one. Always pick one." I said, "What? What are you even talking about?" He said, "Only one door. Only one. If you take 2, they fold you." He laughed. I laughed. We hung up, and that was the last thing he said to me. There wasn't a voice on my radio when the game goes quiet. I didn't want to tell you this. I don't want to be the person who comes on here and says don't stop at the gas station at mile marker such and such with the blue canopy and the lines on the bathroom door. I don't want to get messages back from people saying, haha, I went there and nothing happened, because I think that's how it gets in. With a dare, with a shrug, with a laugh. Here is the only part that matters. If you see a station and it looks like relief, if it looks like the answer to a problem you made by saying yes to someone who doesn't care about you being tired, if the concrete is too clean and the lights hum in your teeth, and the door chimes twice when you hold it only once, if you taste copper in your mouth when you look at the frozen coffee pots, if you see your handwriting where it shouldn't be, do not go inside twice. Do not pick up coins that are not yours. Do not drink and wash. Only one. Only ever one. Or better, keep going. Even if the light is on. Even if the numbers lie. Especially then. It's been months. That should mean something I can put next to other facts. The paint on my porch is chipping. My shoes are wearing at the heels. The house next door sold to a couple with a dog who barks like laughter. I have not been back to the place under the blue canopy. I have passed it in other colors. I have passed it at different hours. Once, walking in my neighborhood, I heard the hum of lights with no lights to hum them. Once, buying groceries, the receipt printed 12:03, and the cashier looked up and down like she had a string tied to each eye. I keep the cup on my kitchen counter, empty now, clean, white. Sometimes, when I am not looking at it, it is warm. You won't believe this, or you'll want to prove you don't have to. You'll tell yourself that numbers are numbers, and roads are roads, and doors are doors. You'll be right until you're not. I think about the clerk more than I want to admit. I think about the way his mouth made the training smile, and the way his hand flattened on the counter, like he had to be sure what was holding him was still there. I think about the man in the hood who was and wasn't me. I think about my brother and his rule. Only one door. I repeat it sometimes like a prayer. Only one door. Only one. This is me telling you the rule. This is me making it yours, so maybe it can stop being mine. If you don't want to stay, don't come in twice. If you have to stop, pick one. If you can keep going, keep going. Never stop at this gas station.